So, greetings, everybody. I would like to welcome you to another conversation in this health series. My name is Dr. Erika Rickrow. I am the host of this beautiful session, and today I'm specifically honored to have Ms. Barbara Imensek with us, who is a wonderful woman, a great business person, and also has such a vast experience and is specialized in so many different fields. So welcome, Barbara. I'm really pleased to have you on board.
Thank you, Eric. I'm happy to be here and honored that you invited me.
You're most welcome. And I'm really happy you took the time, because I know time is so precious nowadays, particularly your time. So just at the beginning, before we get started, I would like to mention that we have a disclaimer. So any talk in the topic health is wealth and how to tap into your power, if you feel like you need to get further information, please reach out to your specialized medical personnel of trust, and also to any other specialized you feel like you need to contact. We are sharing here our experiences, the experiences of the experts and persons specialized in particular topics. And of course, also I'm sharing from my experience. So please reach out to your trusted consultants. Thank you for that. And without further ado, I would like to get started for today's conversation, which is really tapping into the power of this gorgeous lady and very precious colleague of mine, Barbara. So you, just to kind of read your bio a little bit, and then I'll hand over to you, because you have such a richness in your experience. Ms. Barbara Imensek has been in the international corporation for 20 years or even more than that. And she has done studies in international relations, because she always wanted to get international and really serve at the very large scale. And what's so striking to me is you are not only specialized in marketing, sales, development, and research, but you really had your own company. You have your own company. You are specialized in LinkedIn. You are, targeting so many different places, and you have become incredibly busy. Of course, you are very successful. So, this is such a great experience. And I'm so happy you share. Now, COVID, as we all know, had really an impact on everybody in one way or the other. And since our topic today is health is wealth and how to tap into your power, I really would like to, first of all, welcome you again, Barbara, and then please go ahead and introduce yourself. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Erika. As you already said, I'm Barbara Imensek. I've been working in international corporations or for the international corporations for over 20 years. I was lucky enough that I was invited as my second job position at the entry level into marketing, and I immediately took over several countries. I'm coming from Slovenia, so just for all who don't know, that was part of ex-Yugoslavia once. So I was taking care of the all markets in ex-Yugoslavia, plus the Eastern Europe. So it allowed me to understand different markets, because although it was the same country once, the target groups, the population, it's really different, and the purchase power, it's different. So you had to develop different strategies for each of the markets. And it was a really great experience. And I must say, my CEO of the company, he was a German, and he taught me really well how to understand the management of a company through P&L, through understanding P&L, to see the correlations between marketing and sales within the P&L, and immediately see if the company is okay, is it healthy one, or where are the points you have to address, and things like that. So basically, I loved it. I had the best job in the world. We were the best team possible, and we were working 12 and more hours per day, And the amazing thing was, when you're watching American movies, you have people, they say they have 70-hour weeks, and it was like a role model for me, And I was just cashing in hours and hours, and I was paid abundantly, really. I had so much money, I didn't know what to do. And I was spending it restlessly, you know. I would go out one day on a weekend and I would buy 3 sets of eyeglasses. So you totally understand. I was compensating for what I didn't get. I didn't have time. So I really loved it. But it wasn't the right thing to do. So yes, fast forward, some things happened. That one of the things was actually Slovenia joined European Union and the legislation changed. So the headquarters of this company was transferred to Croatia. That was not part of EU at that time because the management team, they were expats and Slovenia became expensive for their salaries. So it was a logical next step. So I decided I'm going out of the company. And soon after that, I went to see an astrologer. So that's the thing most people say, what, you? Yeah, I went to see an astrologer because I was blaming myself for losing the job, although the company moved, you know, and I was given a chance to go with them, but it was another country, different culture, everything, and I wasn't ready to make the step. But still, I was okay, you know, the imposter syndrome, I'm not good enough, why do these things happen to me, stuff like that. And, you know, in these times you go and you reach out to, I would have even seen a clairvoyant at that time, probably. But I went to an astrologer and she said that I needed to open my business. That was it for me. And that made me think, you know, because at that time I already had a lot of knowledge, a lot of experience in skill set. And if I went to work for a company, probably my boss would find me as a threat. So it wasn't an environment that you could work in. And I said, okay, it's better to have your own company and work for other companies. So I did. I opened a company, but I didn't build up a business. My mindset was totally different. The business was actually, I was working to make ends meet. I was making much less money than I did in the corporate world, but still I was happy. I made more than most people. I've had this business for 9 years. You know, I cannot say that my business failed, you know, because I never went bankrupt. My balance was always positive and I always had enough money, but just I wasn't feeling it anymore, you know, because it's just numbers. I mentioned P&L before. When I was in corporate world, I was monitoring the P&L. It was challenging to me. But when I was doing it for some third parties, it was just the numbers. I wouldn't see the result. I wouldn't see people. I didn't get this feedback, you know. For example, if you succeed at something, you see the person, you see the joy and everything, and that was lacking there, you know. There were the numbers, there were the KPIs, and that was it. And
now, since I'm sorry, Barbara, for interrupting you, since we might have also listeners and watchers who do not know what these abbreviation means, so it would be helpful to understand what P&L is and what, you know, all these kind of different abbreviations mean, please.
Okay, yeah, sorry. P&L is actually a profit and loss. It's a balance sheet of the company, and the KPIs are the targets you set and then monitor. So basically, these were all there, and they were really easy to reach. You know, I had budgets. I started a year with millions of euros of budget, which today is something many dream of, but at that time it was something okay. Still, when I was working for other companies, I was invited to join an advertising agency, J. Walter Thompson, and I was taking care of clients like Bayer, Mazda, Unilever, Ferrero. Probably everyone knows Ferrero, and many local companies. And again, it was great. But by that time, you know, since this is a talk about health, I've had my second scare. My first scare was actually when I was still employed by the multinational corporation, and I started lactating. So out of the blue, I was lactating. I would call my gynecologist and he asked me, when did we give birth? And I said, we didn't give birth. Okay, when are we due? We are not due. So, oops, then that's a strange. So that was the first scare. And I've taken many tests to just rule out every possibilities, even a brain tumor and things like that. Nothing came out, you know. I started to think, okay, probably my stress levels are really high, so something must be done. I was taking medicine to get this mastitis, or how it's called, so my breast wouldn't just combust, and it didn't help. I was given other medicines, but I decided not to take them because besides gaining weight, there was no other result. So that was the first scare. And when I found, let's say, an alternative healer that I went to, she didn't give me any medicine. She just told me how to rearrange energies within my apartment. So I did it, and believe it or not, within 2 months, I stopped lactating. So before that, for over a year, I had milk in my breast, and when I would hear a baby, I would just start lactating. So it was it wasn't nice. And 2 months after I went to visit this person, she helped me.
Now, I want you to actually link in here because you were talking already about health issues. And I think this is really a beautiful way I can actually post my first question. What are the light bulb moments, apart from going to this special healer or this special person? Is there any other kind of light bulb moment you had with regards to health, please?
Yes, actually, it was my third health scare. The second one wasn't that severe because I just started fainting, and it lasted for about a month. And I just started doing some, I went to sauna every day. I started to relax and it went away. So, but the third scare was actually I got pulmonary embolism and deep vein thrombosis. I was actually in Germany, in Berlin, and my leg started to swell, you know. And I thought, of course, it's an infection because I had some blisters. I was walking in flip-flops, so probably got infected, and that's it, you know. But the day after, I couldn't move my leg, you know. It was really like a wooden leg. So by the third day, after walking around all day, I said, okay, now let's take this serious, you know. And I went to the Charité Mitte, to the ER, and they immediately take me to do some tests. And it came out I had deep vein thrombosis. So one thing, a good thing that happened before I left for Berlin, I went there for 2 weeks to study German. So that was the end of the first week. Before that, somehow, you know, when the universe gives you stuff, I got a lot of audiobooks from Louise Hay. And I would go to the lectures in the morning, and I would walk around the city every day and listen to my iPod. And every day, this thing about disease would come up, you know. Louise Hay said, what is a disease? It's a discomfort in your body. It's a dissonance in your body. And what do people do when they're faced with diseases? They start to fight it instead of accepting it. So, you know, that resonated in my head. And I said, okay, what happened. So my relationship has been blocked for over a year. And I somehow attracted it into me, into my experience. And it was amazing, you know, because I left Germany immediately. They could give me just a certain amount of medication there because it was an ER, and I required further treatment. So when I came back to Slovenia, I went to visit the doctor here, and I was put into a study group for atypical thrombosis. And I told her, I have a psychological issue, and I'm going to get rid of it. And she said, no. Now, because you also have a pulmonary embolism, you are taking medication for 1 year. And I said, no, I'm not taking medication for 1 year, but I didn't experiment, but it's just, this, I had to go to visit, to do these INR tests every 2 days. So they would either increase or decrease the number of pills per day I was taking. And I didn't like it, my skin I developed rashes, and they told me it's not possible, it's not a side effect of the medicine. And I tried to tell them, everybody reacts differently, even if it's not a side effect that it's no, it may be for me. And they were no. And then I started meditating, me, a person who was in a corporate world, who would never think about meditation. And if someone would tell me 12, 15 years ago that I would be meditating or do some alternative things, I would just probably say, get lost. So I started meditating, and I came across the subliminal meditation, The Secret. And I've been listening to it for 40 nights, because I'm not that type of person who goes into Zen and meditates, but I like to plug in my earbuds and fall asleep and let the things work for me. I'm taking the easy way out. So yes, I think this was the first thing that really helped me get grounded, to feel more at ease with myself, feeling the inner peace. And I think it was 3 months after I first went to see the doctor in Slovenia that I told her that I would like to have another test because I'm okay. And she said, no, you're not okay. It's only been 3 months. So you have to do it for 1 year. And I said, no, I'm okay. So we couldn't agree on her testing me. So I went to see a private practitioner and did the tests. And you know what came back? BP. Everything was clear. There was no blockage in my vein anymore. So approximately 4 months after that, I sent the results to my doctor, and she was totally amazed. And she said she's never seen it happen. And she's taken me off the medication. Mm-hmm. She begged me if something would occur to come back, and I promised her. But, this was, let's say, the aha moment for me, where I realized and actually got a proof that everything starts in our minds. Because I was set to find the root of the problem, and I did it. And when I released the cause of the problem, it went away. So
it is the holistic approach. Yes.
Yeah. But still, in the meantime, I was taking the medicine. I didn't reject the medicine. I was doing it. But I said to my doctor, you take care of that part. I'm taking care of this.
Exactly, because only you can actually do it. And it really, what I'm so appreciating about you being very, honest and sincere, and said, look, I see there is something deeper than just the physical, because the symptoms we are having are signs that something is not working properly. And the less we listen, the louder the symptoms become, and the more they appear, of course. You're absolutely right. Barbara, that leads me to the next question, which is really beautiful, as you said. You are an incredible, successful businesswoman, and life is demanding. And how do you actually keep the balance between your work, the life demands, and also how do you take care of your health with the busy schedule you're facing on a daily basis?
So basically, before I started my second business, I took a lot of time out, because after this thrombosis, and I was still doing, in my first business, I was still working for several years. Then I said, okay, I'm doing the same thing. I'm doing repeating the same things I did when I was in corporate work for much less money. And I'm actually facing the situation of getting back into something that it's not okay for me. So, and at that time, I was, when I would come out home from the office, all I could do was just lay in bed and sleep. So that was the sign something's not right. So I decided to close the company, and actually took some time out. I took 3 years out. Before I closed the company, I actually went to an ayahuasca retreat. I don't know if all people know ayahuasca. Ayahuasca is actually an indigenous ritual.
The plant medicine, yeah.
Yeah, it's the plant medicine. And I think it's the best experience for a person to dive within themselves, because that was the deepest I got into myself. It helped me a lot because I realized that I was actually living in a really toxic environment. Even the business relationships I had were really toxic. Let's not talk about the personal ones, because I was always attracting wrong people into my life. So I said, okay, enough. If I don't change something, the next health scare may be even worse. I closed the business. I had enough savings so I could live happily for quite some time. And let's say for the first 6 months, I was doing practically nothing. I was just relaxing because I was compensating for 12, even 16-hour work days. And then I started to invest in myself. I went to do the NLP. I went to Theta Healing, or how it's pronounced. I did some other things. So I even attended 2 years of psychology, transactional analysis, but all with the purpose to understand myself, because at a certain point, I didn't know who I was. I only felt that what I was saying, doing, and how I was acting was not in synchrony. You know, I was totally lost. And that's, I was actually looking for myself. I was searching around, trying different things to see what works out. With no focus, no direction. I was just, you know, what would come. If I felt it, when something approached me, I went for it. So I did this for 3 years, and 2.5 years into it, I started thinking, okay, it would be good to go back into the business world, you know, because you cannot live like that all the time. Plus, you become really, you get out of society, you don't mingle anymore, things change, you know, you start to look at things differently. So I said, okay, it's good to start working again. And then, you know, out of the blue, I would get numerous offers to come back into advertising agencies for corporations, you know, like tests given to me by the universe, because it would be an easy way out, you know. And because for, let's say, half a year, I didn't know what to do, I was considering some. And then I said to myself, okay, Barbara, be honest with yourself. Is this something you see yourself be working at for the next 2 years? And the answer was no, because if I was honest with myself, it was, let's say, maximum 6 months. And then I would get bored and it wouldn't be for me or something like that. So, you know, the idea of working for someone was thrown away. So, okay, let's go back to your own business. Let's set up a business. But as you mentioned, once you have so many skills, it's actually a curse, you know, because I went on to LinkedIn. I knew what was the power of social media, and I said, okay, let's do the first step and let's go optimize your profile on LinkedIn, and maybe it will give you some directions. And you should have seen my first banner. I think I listed 20 services on that first banner, and it was just, you know, when you offer so many things, or when you serve everyone, you don't serve anyone. So it was just like that. And the more I dug into LinkedIn, the more I started to understand the potential of the platform. It's not just for business, it's not just to look for jobs, but it's much, much, much powerful tool. Mm-hmm. And I was totally hooked by it, you know.
Yes. But now, sorry for interrupting you. Before you go into that one, because this is really critical, I want to make two small amendments. For ayahuasca, anybody who wants to really try this out, it needs to be, because I've done it myself, it needs to be done really under very well guided. And I would consult before your own medical professionals to ensure that, no damage is being done. This is the one thing. The other thing which I really appreciate, Barbara, is you just mentioned, you said you had the curse of having so many skills. Actually, the way you just described it is showing the variety of skills you are having, and then how to narrow it down to really focus on what's most what you're most passionate about. And you also mentioned something really critical, which I love, is there is no easy way. It all really takes work, it all takes consistency. And you are just about to sharing with us some tips and tricks on how you actually went on this journey, and how you built the company you are in right now, and how you have become so successful and you are expanding on a daily basis. So I would like you to really dive into that, because I think nowadays it's kind of promoted, everything is easy, you become a successful person overnight. I haven't really experienced that, so I'd be really happy to see your secrets and to get your tips on that. Please, Barbara.
Actually, it is easy, but once you've built your foundations, but it takes some time to do that, also with LinkedIn. But let's jump back to the start, the skills you mentioned. In the past, I worked in marketing, I worked in sales, I worked in the research and development. So actually, I really have a wide variety of skills. And when I started, I wanted to offer them all. And, then I had this, I was attending a webinar where the person that was taking the webinar told, okay, what's your elevator pitch? You have to put it together in 30 seconds. And I was doomed, I couldn't, because I couldn't even list all the things in 30 seconds. And I said, okay, that's not okay. And yes, then I started to dive deeper into LinkedIn, and I started to work with HR specialists. I started to work with psychologists to understand what they're looking for. Then I started to work with copywriters and all people that I had previously in advertising agency, because I was lucky enough to have access to them. All the profiles were because in the advertising, I was account director. So I was leading the projects and they were all working within my teams. So I had them available. So I sat down and I talked a lot with them. They taught me a lot, and I really understood LinkedIn much, much better, or that's what I thought, but still, there were no results, because I wasn't building on my network. The little voice in my head started telling me, oh, but who are you to teach others? You don't even have results, stuff like this. So first I started offering my services for free to friends. And doing this, it's the worst thing, because they don't give you the honest feedback. They just say, okay, then they don't do the job, and they say, oh, the platform doesn't work, or you didn't teach me right. So it was really, really a bad move, but I had to do it. And then one thing happened, that a person that knew about me specializing in LinkedIn sent me an invitation to prepare a lecture for a group of unemployed people. It's a project that is financed by EU, and it's helping people to get skills to find new employment. So, and I got this invitation by email on Saturday for giving the lecture on Tuesday, and I only read it on Sunday. So, suddenly I was there and I said, okay, they need me on Tuesday. I still have to prepare everything. I don't have the time to panic or to start finding excuses why I can't do it, and I did it. So that was my first lecture, and I'm so grateful to that person to have offered me this chance. I'm still working for them. I'm still, because I really love helping people, and with the unemployed people, the ones that actually do the work, I can say that within 4 weeks, they find a job, a new employment with the help of LinkedIn, which is really a great success. So yeah, that was the, let's say, the kick in the ass I received, and that I needed. Yeah,
exactly.
Otherwise, I would still going. You know, I don't know enough, and there were everyone would be driving faster than me. Yeah.
Awesome.
So yeah, and then you know, COVID. You mentioned COVID in the beginning, so I can say that COVID for my business was a blessing in disguise. You know, because I saw it as an opportunity, and I took it. And last October, I applied for a grant here in Slovenia, also EU finance grant, and I got a sum of 3,000 euros. It's not much, you know, but when you started the business, whatever you get for nothing, it's great. And I invested it in a coach. So it was the best investment ever. And actually, I can say that in 2021, I've taught people in over 35 countries. So I have clients in over 35 countries. I'm still working with corporations because somehow I cannot get out of this world. I even signed an agreement with a company, a multinational corporation present in 30 countries, to be their inside LinkedIn trainer. So I'm actually doing all the training for their teams. Plus, I'm getting clients from everywhere. I just came from Sarajevo last week, where I was invited to be a keynote at the marketing conference. And it was the first event after COVID stroke that was live. And, you know, it was my first time going out in front of several hundred people. And they even asked me to present in their language. I'm speaking about a language I learned for 1 year in elementary school, and I haven't spoken in over 30 years. So, but they were so understanding, and I won them over immediately when I showed them that I'm willing to try in that language, and it was just amazing. So yeah,
congratulations. So
Thank you.
that was a wonderful event. Now, what kind of energy did you feel there? Because it's several hundred people. That's awesome.
I felt support, I felt love, and I also felt appreciation, you know, because when I came to the stage, I started talking. Sarajevo is in Bosnia, you know, one of the ex-countries of Yugoslavia. But in Yugoslavia, we had Serbian language, Croatian language, and Bosnians, which are pretty similar, but they are different. So, you know, and I speak a mix of them. So, and sometimes if you use the wrong expression in Croatia, someone might get offended. And I didn't want to do that. So I went to the stage and I started speaking in this mixed language. And I said, okay, this is how I speak. You know, I'm not from any of the countries where this language is official language. I'm from Slovenia, but I'm willing to put my effort into doing it. If you understand me, or I can do the presentation in English. And I got a big applause for the first language, and it was just, you know, immediately all the stage fright went away and everything, because it was a little shaky, you know, going there, just presenting after so long to so many people, and then even in a language you're not fluent in. So, but yes,
you gave it a try and you succeeded, and that's the beauty about it. And I think what you're also sharing, and this is what I appreciate so much about you, is you really try. You try whatever you do, you try, and you teach and share the lessons learned. And I think that's also something important one can serve at the general public. So what other experiences now with you being specialized in LinkedIn and your current company, what other key kind of practical tips can you pass on to our audience? And I still come back to you on the health thing, because I want to know how you take care of your own health. please.
If I just go back to the question you posed, how do I balance business and life? It was a decision. I decided I'm not going to give it more than 4 hours per day, which means, for example, last week I was in Sarajevo. Although I didn't work there, it took me 4 days for this. And this week I took off. So there are some days that I'm working more than 4 hours, but I try to keep an average of 4 hours. So, but it was a decision and it was a conscious one. And I have to remind myself sometimes, because honestly, I don't consider this a job. I love this. It's my passion. And sometimes when I start, let's say, writing articles, because I also write articles for some newspapers, I totally forget about the time. Or when I'm doing presentations or recording something, that it takes, I say, oh, it's been 6 hours, you know? So I have to remind myself. But just the first and most important thing is decide what you want and how much time do you want to put into it. Regarding the LinkedIn, so the tips for LinkedIn. The first thing is the one you hear all the time. You have to know what you want. Setting a goal is important before you start working on your profile, because after you set the goal, you optimize your profile so that it gets you to this goal. Then you have to be visible. On LinkedIn, it starts with an optimized profile, but then also being interactive a bit with people and let the right people notice you. You know, personalization, it's the thing that actually makes a difference on LinkedIn, because I'm sure many of you probably received a connection request with any message attached to it, and you didn't know who this person was, why they were connecting with you, anything, you know. And there's a difference when someone sends you, dear Erica, I've seen you talking about that and I really like the subject of can we connect? It makes a difference. It shows appreciation for you. Someone took time to at least go through your profile and see who you are. And personalization, like I teach it, is the key to success. It makes the difference between making it and not making it. So this would be, let's say, really quick things about LinkedIn. And one more thing, because lately with the Facebook fallout that we had a few weeks ago, I see many people migrating because they realize, okay, it's not good to be only on Facebook. Let's go to another platform. And what they do, it's actually they apply the same strategies that they do on Facebook or on Instagram, on LinkedIn. Don't do that. The algorithm is totally different, and several postings, more posts per day, like we do on Facebook or Instagram, doesn't work in our favor on LinkedIn. So don't just copy paste, but make a strategy that considers how algorithm works on LinkedIn.
Now, how can people actually reach out to you or your team when they would like to, learn more, like the 77 tips on how to improve your profile on LinkedIn? You've done already so many beautiful blogs and contributed so many nice articles. How can people reach you?
The best way to reach and the easiest way to reach me is on LinkedIn. There's a reason I didn't do a website, because I try to walk the talk. And if I'm teaching LinkedIn, I think the first way to reaching out to me is through LinkedIn. And I know, even, if you put my name into Google search, my LinkedIn profile will be the first result. And there is it's my profile. You can find my email address there. You can even find my phone. I'm on WhatsApp and Viber. So I'm always open to questions. And you know that I don't have problems with giving advice, even if a person doesn't become my client. I believe in giving out first to getting stuff back.
It's the giving and receiving.
Yeah, I also write a lot of articles that are spot on advices how to do what to do on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
So if you
Mm-hmm.
just, I have a hashtag how to LinkedIn with Barbara, and if you follow that hashtag, actually you can find a lot of useful tips.
Awesome. This is so great. I really appreciate your time and your valuable tips, and they are just cross-cutting throughout your personal journey, and also, of course, very practical in terms of what to do on LinkedIn and so forth. Is there anything else? Are there any other key messages, Barbara, you would like to share, going on this journey on how to tap into your own power? And of course, also a little bit on how to take care of your health, but particularly the tapping into your power is of interest to me now.
So honestly, I think I needed these health scares. Otherwise, I still may be, a heartless, I'm not saying the word, but I was a totally different person before that, I was totally business oriented, goal oriented. I wouldn't tolerate mistakes, things like that. And people that knew me at that time and that know me now, they consider me a totally different person because I had to change. It also has to do with my upbringing, because I come from a broken family where my father was an alcoholic, and then later he even committed suicide. So these things shape you, and you build a world around you just to not get a lot of hurt anymore. So I had to reinvent myself, but the first thing I had to do, and that would be my first advice, learn to listen to yourself and hear what your body and your intuition is telling you. Because so
Yes.
many times we are flooded with all the buzz around us, we may hear, but we don't listen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We don't take action. I told you, deep vein thrombosis was my first scare. It was in 14 years period. So I had every 7 years I had a scare. It's just amazing. It was every 7 years. Now it's more than 11 years since deep vein thrombosis. So I think I learned a lesson. But
Yes.
yes, learn to listen to yourself, to your intuition, to your body, because our body is always telling us what is wrong. One thing that I learned is actually now Louise Hay also has a book where she relates every illness, every condition in your body to a situation that is happening to you. So, for example, let's say a few years ago, I was suddenly developing lower back pain. And I then went into the book and looked what is it. And it was money-related issues, worries about money. And guess what? That morning, I was thinking, okay, I have to stop my spending. It was during the time when I was taking time out. I have to stop the spending because otherwise I may run out of the money. It wasn't a scare, but it was a thought. And my body immediately showed me something's not right. Stop this thinking because you may go into downward spiral. So learn to listen. I will not say, look, Louise Hayes' book, but it may help you. If this is something that resonates with you, then of course do it. Every person finds a different way. What I like to do is actually take long walks. I
Mm-hmm.
am fortunate enough to live by the seaside, so I enjoy long walks. I try to make at least 10,000 steps per day. It's not, I'm not successful every day, but still. Yeah, I said I'm not successful every day. For example, some time ago, if I would set a goal and I wouldn't achieve it, I would start blaming myself, and bad mouthing myself and say, oh, you didn't do it, you're worthless and stuff like that. No, it's just a day you didn't do it, start again tomorrow. Even in your business, if you set up a goal that has to be achieved by a certain time, And for whatever reason, it's not. Don't focus on that, but just focus on the goal and continue working on it. And take time out, you know. It's important to take time out, because I can say at least 2 of 3 of my health scares were burnouts that I didn't realize they were burnouts. It's just, I thought, okay, it's something happening to me. But now in retrospective, when I looked at them, it was that, because I was really working long hours. I was stressed. You know, I was living the perfect life when I was in corporation, because sometimes I wouldn't even remember what city I was waking up, because I would just come home, unpack, repack, go jump on a plane to go to another country, to another city. It was just, you know, my passport. We still had stamps in Europe at the time, so it was full of stamps. And when my friends saw it, they would just go, "Wow, you're so lucky, you're so fortunate." But what I would see the airport, I would see a hotel, I would see a taxi, and probably some office or a conference room. And I remember one time when I was in Budapest, and the driver was taking me back to the airport, and he asked me, "What is the thing you like most in Budapest?" And I was, "What?" And he said, "Okay, did you have a look around the city?" And I said, "No." And he said, "But you've been coming here for the past, I don't know how many months." And he was our driver, the company's taxi driver. And I said, "Yes, I know, but you're taking me to the hotel, then maybe restaurant, whatever." So
That's so nice.
Even if things look nice in the eyes of the others don't matter. Just make memories for yourself, listen to yourself, and try to find that balance, that even when things get hard or things happen that you have to work for 16 hours straight, it's not a problem for you, but you are working out of your passion. Because if you discover your passion, you will never work a day in your life.
Exactly, Barbara, you really hit the nail by saying when you work for your passion, the passion is actually what you love, and you don't really feel like working anymore, right? Because you really do what you love. I also want to go back to what you mentioned in terms of the organs. You know, if we don't acknowledge our emotions, and the thoughts are very important as well. It's like those little voices in the heads. And I'm not talking about the psychiatric cases. I'm really talking about how we talk to ourselves, and how we are treating ourselves. I think the worst enemy wouldn't treat oneself as people are talking sometimes to themselves. And emotions need to be acknowledged. Otherwise, they make the organs cry. This is what I've learned throughout my medical career. So, really, I'm so appreciating what you're saying, and how, you know, honestly, you're sharing your journey, which is really a roller coaster, if I may say. What are your concluding remarks? Because time was flying.
Oh, it's already been almost an hour. Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Like I said, put yourself first. Learn to love yourself. And even though you can see I'm overweight, I'm not talking to me in a degrading way anymore. Learn to accept yourself, because it's the energy you put out that matters the most. And you have to be true to yourself. You have to be unique, and everything will be easier that way. And when I'm talking about being true to yourself, I also mean that your health will balance. You know, although I'm overweight, I'm healthy. Although all of my conditions and the situation that happened to me, I had no control over, I learned to realize when something that it's not good for me comes to me. It's trying to enter my mind into little voices. You know, I've taken a totally different approach to life. And Erica, we've been together in a coaching program. You can say I'm pretty easy person, whereas in the past I was so nervous. I was really, I don't know how people could actually stand being around me at that time, you know.
You are such
honestly.
a pleasant, yeah, but you are such a pleasant person to be with. And I think you have done, and this is, I think, the incredible progress we all making who are doing some personal development. And wow, yeah, it's amazing how you have how you have expanded your beautiful energy, not only for yourself, but also for anybody you are serving. And I think this is the result of the consistent work you're doing over such a long time, isn't it?
Yeah, to let's say if we go into health situation, changing myself, it started in 2009. So it wasn't an overnight success, but I've been consistently working on my mind and everything around for the past 12 years, almost 13 years. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah,
been,
yeah.
as far as the LinkedIn goes, it's the result of 20 years of experience. Although I specialize in LinkedIn now, I'm also doing marketing and things like this, but I incorporate it into strategies I craft for my clients.
Wow. Yeah. I really, this comes across very clearly. You know, you are here for your clients. You really walk the talk. You go with them. You are there to support them all the way along. And I'm so pleased and honored. And again, Barbara, thank you so much for your valuable time, for all the tips, for sharing your journey, for sharing what you are doing, how you are growing, how you're expanding, and how you're really making such a big impact in this beautiful world. So thank you very much again for joining today. Now for the auditorium, thank you very much for also joining us and spending the time and being with us. And I'm Dr. Erica Rickrow. This is the Health Series, the Health Expert Series with the topic Health is Wealth and how to tap into your power. And I see you next time. Thank you. Bye bye, and lots of blessings.